aka why must I sign in, and so this is going to go ahead and be my last Diablo 3 video for a while. I mean, I'm not like swearing off the game because I don't like it, but I kind of feel like I've gotten about what I want out of it for right now. I completed the season journey at Guardian. I had actually kind of planned to stop at Conqueror, because that's when you get the stash space. I'm like, if I come back to the game, I'll appreciate having unlocked the stash space at that point. The portrait unlock seems not really that important, but it was like, here's some stuff to do, so I'll do it. um, I did most of these on hardcore, including Jim Fatale, really should know how to say that word. We Don't Stop was, these two I got at the exact same time, in the same rift, and, basically I had to do kind of both together in hardcore. It was pretty intense. It was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed shooting for these two. I did kind of feel like the rest were kind of grunt work. So for Flawless Victory, I was like, alright, well, to get Flawless Victory at this point, since, I've done the first one of basically killing a Gilded Baron on hardcore and then killing a Gilded Baron on softcore. That's 2 conquests. And the third one was doing some, a bunch of set dungeons in hardcore, and I was like, that's fine. The set dungeons were initially a lot of fun, but at the end they were kind of dumb. So I don't really like the conquests, honestly. Like, if you just look at them, where are they? I think it would be under achievements or something, right? Conquests. Avarice and Avaridia are basically just kill a Gilded Baron with some gold find gear on once, which makes these two laughably easy, compared to pretty much everything else. Master of Sets was initially a lot of fun. Basically what I found doing the set dungeons is that I like playing Demon Hunter. I enjoy playing the class a lot. It's what I've kind of always gone back to. It's why I keep coming back to this game, basically. It's just really to play the Demon Hunter because I like the mechanics of the class so much. And so I pretty much enjoyed the challenge of all of the Demon Hunter set dungeons. And then I found that I didn't really like spending so much time gearing up my monk. I didn't really like gearing up my wizard just quite as much, just taking the time to do it. And so the other set dungeons felt like a chore because I just didn't enjoy the classes as much. And so this one started out a lot of fun when I was doing the Demon Hunter ones. But as I tried to complete it, it began to feel like a chore. So overall, I'm kind of underwhelmed by the conquests section. I enjoyed this season a lot, but it was not because of the conquests. I did think that trying to do We Don't Stop and Jim Fatale in hardcore was a lot of fun as a challenge, and it's really, I really liked it. Guardian of Sanctuary, I eventually decided to continue on and do this in softcore. I'm sure I would have gotten it in hardcore too. Basically, you just need to find a good rift and then close it quickly. Like, the stupid thing about Guardian of Sanctuary is a lot of the time you want to leave rifts open so that people can take the time to pick up any shards, find any last legends. Basically, all this conquest is, or this final objective is close rifts faster. Like, find a good rift seed and then close it as soon as it's actually done. And so I kind of didn't like this one very much either. Get Shrifty, this is so laughably... I mean, I was thinking I would have to switch to my, my Shadow gear on my Demon Hunter to do this, but I actually just did it with my Marauder set, and it was just as easy, even with the turrets disappearing when he goes into Phase 2. He just dies pretty fast, and I did this in hardcore mode. Reached level 70 in hardcore mode, of course, was like the first thing I did because I started out in hardcore mode. But really, I actually found that going for We Don't Stop, Jim Fatale, and then and as part of that, a little more Gem of My Life, going for all of those was actually a lot of fun. So I enjoyed this season. I think that the overall list of objectives is kind of weird. Like, even on Conqueror, really, there's a little more in Gym of My Life, and those are the real challenges, at least in my mind. So I can go and look at my heroes a little bit. So I ended up doing 6 total seasonal heroes, 3 in softcore and 3 in hardcore. What I really didn't like was that I ran out of character resets, so I ended up having to delete my old Epic Beardman. So this is purely a seasonal character now, and I just created a new Epic Beardman. And this is who I got the 3-minute rift on, but it wasn't because of this character, it was just because I was playing public games and a Crusader happened to be well geared and pretty much just cleared the whole thing. I was going for the Sunmoko set, but Kadala was just not really dropping ancient pieces. I was eventually going to go for the one-shot monk build, but I did have I could not get a ancient Kiyoshira's blade. I couldn't get an ancient Kuda's boot. I did finally get an ancient Zokrin's gaze, and I couldn't get an ancient Pinto's pride, so I was starting to get kind of bored and frustrated trying to gear this character the way I wanted to gear it. And so now that I'm kind of done with those objectives, I think I'm going to be done with this character for a while. Time Dump, I kind of was initially like, maybe with my clan, it'd be nice to start doing some Gridorus, but I would need to do so much more work on this character to get her anywhere near where she needs to be. Softcore was the Barbarian that I was initially planning to do, because it's like, I kind of want to try this Waste set. What I found is that the Waste set was not really as much fun to use as I was thinking it would be, even once I was I didn't really quite get this this character where she needed to be. I never really got a very good main hander. But what I realized is that most of the stronger builds were not really going Wastes. They were going for this combination of other gear sets, and it was like, well, I really wanted to roll this character just to try out the Wastes. Once I found that it just wasn't that great, I kind of got bored of the character. Helen of Rifts was the character I kind of started off the season with, and I think I definitely enjoyed the season the most when I was playing the Demon Hunter. I feel like coming back into the game, it doesn't really matter what the meta is, because I just feel so much more comfortable with the Demon Hunter, and I just enjoy the process of gearing her more. I was just so thrilled finding basically a perfectly rolled Ancient Marauder's Carapace. Chest, I feel like my hat was really nice too. And I just, I put in a solid 70 hours, 77 hours in this character. I played the crap out of this Demon Hunter. This is all from this season. I don't even know how. I think I might have. A lot of this probably was AFK while I went and did lunch and stuff. So this isn't actually 77 hours at the computer playing. But a lot of it is, and I think that's reflected in just the sheet damage and toughness and all this. So looking at the heroes, I guess I put in. Let's see. So Helen was new. Mr. Mule was a reroll. So I think about half of this is from this season, probably less actually. It's pretty much the same with the monk. I think less than half of this is from this season. Softcore was also a reroll. This was a softcore reroll. I think less than half of this is from this season. Epic Beardman, so this is about closer to what I was actually putting in per character this season. 16 hours in Epic Beardman and an hour and a half on Time Dump. Basically, I got a power level, got an initial wave of gear, and there's I actually don't really like playing Wizard that much. I don't know why I rolled 2 Wizards. Because I read the things and I'm like, oh, Wizard is meta, and Wizard is really good, and if you do this thing with the Wand of Woe, Wizard is super awesome. And it's really a button spammy build, which I just didn't really enjoy that much. And so working into this Marauders build, I was like, well, it's kind of too bad that I had to commit too much to it. And there are some things about the Marauder set that you start to get a little bit annoyed with, throwing down the sentries every time you change levels, dealing with the bug with the Hellfire Amulet where you can't use custom engineering on the amulet or it bugs. But aside from those really pretty minor frustrations, I enjoyed the hell out of this character. And so what I'm finding is that the things that I always enjoyed, I enjoyed a lot more coming back to this season. But trying to play into the popular meta for Wizard, I got bored with very, very quickly. I actually enjoyed the hardcore monk a lot more because I was playing just kind of my own build, doing what I felt good. So I was going for this Lashing Tail kick build with Gyanakushu and Rivera Dancers, and trying to get some better mainhanders, going for this Ring of Royal Grandeur with the Obsidian Ring and the Convention, with a really tanky build, right? So I felt like I had a good combination of control and absorption and with the damage, although I never really got the suck everything in ability into my tree, so I was never really main tanking for a lot of groups. But it was still more fun to play this than to try to force a one-shot range monk into this character instead of just going with what the gear gave me and building and making my build around the gear that I found. Instead, I was trying to force a build on this character the entire time, and it just became very frustrating and very boring. And so I do think that this new season of Diablo 3 is honestly probably the most fun I've ever had with this game. I think that the game is better now in a lot of really significant ways than it's ever been before. I do think that it runs out. I think that you're gonna get bored, or I mean, I got bored after basically about 100 hours, which is a fair amount of time for a game that I did not have to buy again and didn't have to buy an update for, right? I mean, this season gave me like another 100 hours of content. That's pretty impressive, actually, over the course of like a month and a half, about. It's probably less than that, actually. So yeah, and so I mean, with this character, you can just kind of see, like, I couldn't even get anywhere close to the one-shot monk build that is popular in the other videos on YouTube, where you go Wailing Host and Litany, and then you get a bunch of ancient pieces. Instead, I was doing this build where I was using the Sunwoko set with, of course, Kyoshiro's and Pinto's Pride and Zokran's Gaze. I had to have a Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube, and so I was pretty much locked in on that to continue getting the Sunwoko's set bonus until I could get the gear to do anything. But I couldn't even get a well-rolled I can't even remember the set piece's name, but it's a fist weapon that increases the maximum count of your sweeping wind. And so I was originally thinking I could just keep it in the cube, but I found that it was actually much more important to keep the incense torch in the cube so that I would have the 50% wave of light reduction. But then that meant that, I was always floating at a max of 3 sweeping wind stacks, and so I was constantly having to manage that, because basically as soon as a monster comes up to you, you cast Wave of Light 3 times, and suddenly your sweeping wind is gone, and now you're dealing no damage, so you need to be constantly moving away from creeps so that you can keep your sweeping wind up, so that you can continue casting Wave of Light. And it's like, this build is kind of a hassle when you don't have it fully developed. Like, what I should have done is, I mean, I think it was fine to keep the Sunwoko set, but I was actually better off going more like the build I had here with the Gyanakushu with the Lashing Tail kick, just keeping Kyoshiro's with the cubed Vincial Wind, so that I didn't need to have a cubed Incense Temple, and playing a lot more tanky instead of this kind of suicidal attempting to one-shot everything build. And so, yeah, I don't really need to comment on this wizard because there's, like, no work put into it at all. With this wizard, I was trying to do this Tal Rasha's Firewind mix, and I had Wizard Spike, but I kept wanting to get a Wand of Woe properly, and I just could not get one to drop, and I just got frustrated because basically, if you don't have a Wand of Woe, it's a completely different sense of playing the wizard. And the thing is that when I did start to, whenever I did have a Wand of Woe, or when I did try to use that build, I still found that I just didn't enjoy playing it as much. But yeah, I do think that Diablo 3 has come a really, really long way. Obviously, at launch, this game was bad. And I mean, I'm a big fan of Blizzard, obviously. At this point, I'm a big fan of Diablo 3. And I'm not going to hesitate saying that Diablo 3 was bad at launch. But it's not bad now. It's a good game now. And I do mean that. I don't feel like I'm speaking as a fanboy. I think the game is actually fun now. At least for about 100 hours. I mean, doing a new season and going through the actions, completing the seasonal journey, except for the kind of the stupid ones. No one really cares about Guardian of Sanctuary or some of these other kind of random ones. And so long as you're not forcing it, so long as you're not forcing yourself into whatever the popular build is online, or going with what you think is meta, going with a character class that you enjoy playing, and discovering what you think is going to work best, I think is the way to go at it. And so long as you're doing that and not trying to, let the game play itself, basically, it's actually a ton of fun. And so that's kind of my seasonal review and my, review of Diablo 3 in its current state. I'm probably going to uninstall it at this point because I'm kind of done with the seasonal journey, but I'll be back for the next season. So I hope you guys have enjoyed these Diablo 3 videos, and look forward to me to some more. I'm going to still be doing the Star Battle videos, going to be doing some Here's the Storm videos. I think I'm going to try some Endless Legend 2 and some of these other games I've been meaning to get out for a while. But yeah, I hope you keep watching, and I'll see you guys